Make sure the tape is on.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to MangaPod. We got a true MacGyver with us this week, just so you all know.
It's true. A lot happened behind the scenes today.
A lot did. Welcome to MangaPod. We're a weekly podcast in which we all get together after we've read all or part of a manga, and then we discuss it with friendship, love, and lots of spoilers. This week we are discussing Welcome to the Volume. The Volume?
Yes.
Volumes 1 through 5, chapters 1 through 21. I'm Erin of Happily Erin, your host, and with me are two of my three lovely co-hosts, as well as a very special MacGyver. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, please.
I'm Dodger. What's up, y'all? And I don't know what else to say. I'm excited to talk about ballroom dancing.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
My name's Lou. I'm from Lou Talks Anime. And I am excited to talk about ballroom dancing, but not all that excited about the ballroom dancing. Yeah. What's up?
Interesting.
He laid it out right there.
Interesting.
An introduction. Yes, as you open your banana.
It's a weird
Like
way
a
to...
true champ. And I'm Jean from AnimeAppraisal. I also have an anime channel. I usually will talk about airing anime, and I also do podcasts, and I'm really cool. And I'm happy to be back on MangaPod, so thank you for having me.
Of course,
Yeah,
it's been
thanks
so
for coming back.
long.
I know, it's been too long.
I think it's been like 120 episodes since you've been here.
Been almost 3 years.
Have we been doing MangaPod for 3 years?
You guys
Yeah.
have been doing manga.
Oh, yeah,
manga
for
pod
sure.
like 5.
Like, think about how many Crunk manga pods we've done, Erin.
oh,
We've done a lot.
Wow, you're right.
I want to do a Crunk manga pod with you guys.
Hey, yeah. Anytime.
We got you.
We got you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Well, thank you so much for coming back. It's been so long. We're so excited to have you here. And everybody who is watching this, if you never joined us for a manga pod before, what we like to do is give you a short spoiler-free description of the manga that we read, aka summary. Jean will be reading that for us, and then we'll give you our spoiler-free recommendations, whether we think you should spend time going to read this manga or not. That way, if it sounds like something you are interested in reading and you don't want to be spoiled, you can take your leave after we get to the spoiler section, and you can come back after you've read it and watch the VOD of this on my YouTube channel, where all of the VODs are hosted immediately after the show ends. So you could literally go and read it and then come back and like it'll be there waiting for you by the end of the night. So we do ask that nobody in chat post any spoilers until we get to spoiler section. And then once we get to spoiler section, please don't post any spoilers for anything past what we read, which is chapter 21. Also don't post any spoilers for the anime because I don't know how closely they relate or anything. But people in chat may have seen it. 3 out of 4 of us have not seen it. So please don't do it. Though Dodger saw it twice, so maybe that kind of counts. She's just double knowledged in it.
I know so much about the first episode.
Every detail.
Yeah. Remember it all.
All of it. Yeah, sweet. So, Jean, if you don't mind.
Okay. So, with no particular dreams or plans for the future, third-year middle schooler Tatsura Fujita learns to find something that he can pursue wholeheartedly. Initially, even bullied and extorted for his lack of confidence, Tatsura's life changes when he is saved from the delinquents by a man named Kaname Sengoku. His savior, a motorcycle-riding dance instructor, proceeds to drag Tatsura to Agasawara Dance Studio, mistakenly believing that the boy was looking at the studio's flyer. Ooh.
And thus begins
Intriguing.
dance. The dance.
So much
And then his life changed.
Forever. The rhythm catches him, is what happens.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, spoiler-free recommendations. Anybody want to go first?
I can go. I really liked this manga. I really, really liked the art. I thought that the way it was paced out was different from how I expected it to be in a good way. And yeah, it was really hard for me to stop reading it. So I enjoyed it quite a bit. I would definitely recommend it.
No, go
I'm
ahead.
still eating my banana, so it's rude for me to talk with food in my mouth anyway, so you should go.
All right,
You can't have
I kind
both,
of
Aaron.
alluded. I kind of alluded to the fact that not crazy about this manga. I think it was a pretty good read. It reads like a sports manga, and I'm a huge fan of that genre of manga. So it has some things that I like, but there's just something about this manga that I don't know. It just didn't really grip me all that much. I guess I can go into it more in the spoiler section, honestly, because it deals more with events that occur or don't occur in this manga.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's a good read. I would suggest reading it if the premise interests you. Otherwise, I can take or leave it.
I recommend it. There was parts of this that I had trouble. I didn't think were bad, but I didn't really connect with. And then there were parts where I could not stop reading. And near the end of what we read was where I couldn't stop reading. And by couldn't, I mean, I think I read up to like chapter 25. So before we get to spoiler section, I need to go and make sure that what happens at the end of 21, I don't say anything. And so it really gripped me towards the end of what we were reading, but there is really good stuff at the beginning too that kept me interested, and it does some things with the characters that is very refreshing to see in sports anime or sports manga, and also just in manga in general, in terms of how the characters interact with one another and how they grow. So that's something I really enjoyed. Yeah, it's sports manga about dancing, so it's got sports manga feels, and it's about ballroom dancing, and people's faces get terrifying when they're doing it too.
Okay.
So I recommend it. I really enjoyed it, and I think I'm going to enjoy even more past what we read. So, but I recommend checking it out.
So I think if nobody watching this hasn't read it yet, I will say that it is a slow start, but if you're into like slow progressing series, I have to admit right now before we start this podcast that I'm a little upset that we couldn't like read more into it, because I feel like it really started to grip more towards like the latter half that we read. So like when we got to chapter 21, I felt like it was the snowball effect. I'm like, why are we ending now? So
Yeah.
it's like we're doing the beginning, but it's like a slow progression, and I feel like it's going to be a great series to read it. I'm going to continue reading it as soon as I'm done here, because I only read up to chapter 21. So I think that if I'm going to go continue reading it, then like I definitely recommend it for sure.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. You didn't see
No.
shit, chat.
Nothing. There was absolutely no rubber bands flying off.
Oh,
Nothing happened.
No.
Everything
Saved it. All right. So that is it for spoiler-free recommendations. That means if you don't want to be spoiled, now is the time to dance your way, shimmy your way away from
That'll on out of
this place,
here. Click away,
and
bye-bye.
then spin
You
back
later.
later.
Yep.
Yep, that's
Those are
exactly
puns.
what I was referring to. That was the type of spinning I meant.
All right, get out of here. 5,
This.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The dance is
is God.
God. No, the
Absolutely.
dance. Absolutely. Sengoku. I
Every
love
time
him.
I read Sen Goku,
Love
I
him.
kept on reading it as Son Goku.
Son
Oh my
Goku.
God.
I'm like,
Right,
when the
me
fuck is
too.
he going to turn Super Saiyan? And clearly, it's all the fucking time because he's a
Yes.
dance god.
He's
I
the
feel like
best.
half of their faces all look Super Saiyan at some parts.
Yeah, dude. I was scared. I was
So
intimidated.
good.
I was.
Can I tell a little anecdote?
Okay.
Because Amazon owns Twitch. They streamed the first episode of Welcome to the Ballroom on Twitch, and that's how I watched it.
Mhm.
And my chat started calling Sengoku Daddy Longlegs, and now that's all I could think of.
As I was reading, I was like, Daddy Longlegs. I was like, hey, Daddy Longlegs.
Because I kept being like, oh, it's our dad. It's our dance dad. And then somebody was like, Daddy Longlegs, more like. And now that's all I can think of. So, there
Same.
you go, chat.
Honestly. They changed us.
Yeah.
They changed the game. All right. What were your guys' expectations before going in? Dodger, nobody has read it before, correct? Okay. Dodger, you've seen the anime. So if you had any expectations that were going in, like, different, varied, but for everybody else the same, like, going into this, what were your guys' expectations? Like, how they differentiate and all that?
All I'll say about the anime is that so the first chapter of the manga is the first episode of the anime.
Okay.
And less happens in the first episode of the anime than happens in the first chapter. Like, there's stuff in the first chapter that they cut out. And it still flows fine, but I was really surprised because normally, like, a few chapters condense into one anime episode, and I was like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
But just in general, in terms of reading it, I don't know. I guess, like, I didn't expect the sort of story that we got, and I don't know why. I didn't expect for a lot of the training aspect of dancing to kind of not happen, you know, for it to all happen off chapter. You know? Like, it would suddenly be, oh, we're 3 months in. Oh, he's been practicing for 4 months. He's been practicing for 5 months, right? Which allowed us to get to kind of the juicier, like, we're competing now stuff, which I appreciated, but I was really surprised that we didn't get any of that, really.
Because that's so atypical for a sports manga.
Yeah.
Like, even if the training doesn't happen before the first match, you still get a ton of it, like, otherwise. So I was surprised by that as well, that all of the training for the most part took place without us seeing it.
Yeah, unless there was, like, interpersonal stuff happening at the same time, we just didn't see it. So
I mean, clearly we don't need to watch the guy training because he's like fucking Kakashi with his Sharingan, copying everyone's moves, no problem.
Dude, right?
Master
prodigy.
copycat.
Yeah, he's fucking Kisei from Kuroko no Basket.
He is.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking the whole
That's a
time. I was
much
like, is
better
this
comparison.
Kisei in, like, the generic protagonist form?
I love that their explanation for it too was that he's been like telling his grandma what happens in sumo for so long.
And they didn't even make a big deal about that, which you think they would. It was more of like an off-a-side bubble, blink and you kind of missed it. If you were just skimming through, you would have totally, like, not really noticed it. Whereas a lot of times when somebody has the ability to freaking, like, copy dance moves when they've never danced at all that quickly, there's a big reason, like, build up. Like in Hajime no Ippo, the reason he's so built is because he helps, like, fishing on the docks every single day. And so you get that explanation. Whereas this, they're like, it's really not that important. We're not here for that. We're here for this.
Right. Yeah. What were your expectations, Jean?
I don't know. It's hard because I first saw the trailer and that's when I was, like, really psyched about it. And then for some reason, just by the trailer, I was expecting Mako to be Fujita's partner the whole time. And it was, like, weird how the story built from what I was expecting. And I don't know why I was just expecting that just from the trailer, but I don't know. I wasn't expecting, like, certain relationships to grow a certain way. I feel like there's not much, there's not much, like, rivalry between them. Like, they have it in the competition, but other than that, like, they all actually get along and don't have, like, a hatred for one another, like, secretly. And it's just more about, like, the sports and, like, the artistic way of ballroom dancing. Like, I feel like it takes away from, like, that immature nonsense and it makes it, like, more mature for us.
I like that they kind of, like, presented the illusion of that happening with the guy that was around when
Gaju?
Gaju.
No.
I kept calling him Gaijin.
No, I'm thinking more along the lines when Hyodo's rival, the older guy, was always came in second place. Like, they kind of kind of teased the idea of, like, well, this guy's clearly an asshole. Yeah. You know, it makes you think that they kind of show you a panel where Hyodo's at the bottom of stairs
Right.
And you're thinking, oh well, this guy pushed him down
He
the
definitely
stairs.
pushed
as if he
him.
did.
Yeah.
But it was the total bait and switch.
Yeah.
So
The drama.
I think it definitely plays into what you were saying, Gene, that it's a more mature representation, and it's people that love the sport. Though I do think at some point we're going to get an antagonist that's a total dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how? But when? I have appreciated that though a lot. Like I loved when he got into high school and Gaju was just there.
Yeah.
And it was just like, cool, we're friends now. And I was like, what?
I
And
loved
now they're,
it.
like, buds that call each other and shit. And I'm just like, oh, but like you hate each other when you're dancing. Like it's just so
I thought
funny
they
to
were
me.
just
I
have
love
a
it.
bad relationship the whole time, and then that happened, and it was like, oh wow, like it's going to grow more, so it's just going
Yeah.
to get, because there's no shallow fights right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like the relationship between, like you were saying, the main girl and the main guy, totally not what I was expecting either. And I think that's because both of their characters, even though they were presented in the very generic, she's the soft-spoken, I don't know, bookish girl, and he's the blubbering, adorable idiot who can't get his words around pretty girls. They were like that at the start, but then you realize that's not who they are at all. And so that makes their dynamic so fascinating, especially the fact that he like talks to her like a normal person, and that he's not just like has a fire lit in him for a rival to another guy. Like it's a girl too.
Yeah,
And you never
right.
see that. You never see that in other sports anime or manga. At least not that I can
Dude.
like recall, but I just love
Yeah.
that.
Was anybody
Ed.
else just so delighted that she didn't turn out to be a super tsundere character?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
was going to. When they
so
first
happy.
like danced and she was like, "What are you, a perv or something?" I was like, "Oh no!" And then like
Ready,
she winds up
perv alert.
being really sweet, and like
Mhm.
I was just so happy.
And they're friends, and it's just it made me so happy that she was like a person and not a trope. Both of them.
Yeah.
No, and playing into that same moment when they call back to it in that last little bit that we read, where he does the same thing of like telling that other girl,
Yeah.
oh, don't make fun of dance, you know, and he goes back and he reflects, oh,
Yeah,
this must be what she was experiencing.
Yeah.
Right.
I
So
love
it's like he almost sees her as like his like senpai in a way,
Yeah.
and he's the kohai. Like I see that relationship. I don't know. I don't know.
No, I agree. I just loved the way I just loved the dreamy look you got when you said that. You're like, he's the co.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Through dance, they're gonna fall in love.
Dodger, what were you gonna say? You seem like you were gonna say something.
I don't remember,
Oh, okay.
but I love them all.
What do you guys think about Kiyoharu? What's his name? Main rival.
He's
Yeah.
the one who hurt
his leg. Yeah,
I actually
Oh
love
boy,
him.
just call him Broke
I love
Boy.
him too. Broken boy. Is that what you said?
Broke boy. Just
Broke
call him
boy.
Broke boy. I don't know. The one with the MILF.
The MILF. Yeah,
Oh
Dude.
my god.
We can call Marissa MILF.
Marissa. I loved that I just loved his introduction. Though I got confused. I was like, does he dye his hair? Because his hair looked so much darker when he was dancing the first time.
Oh,
To
it was
me,
a
It
belt
doesn't look that way
back.
because he has a ton of gel in it.
Okay.
I think that was.
I think that was
like,
the.
why.
But I was like, he colors his hair for his competitions. I don't know.
No,
yeah.
And then his hair was down. I was like, you look like a totally different person, sir.
Again, with him, I thought that he was going to be the rival from the get-go.
Yeah.
And
Same.
he's not. He's actually like, seems like he's going to be, well, I don't know. But a companion, like he just seems like a fellow ally and like lover for ballroom dancing. So that's also really cool.
That was another trope that I absolutely expected, and it didn't
Yeah.
wind up happening. Was when
Right.
he was like, "Take care of her for me," and hopped on a train. I was like, "He's never gonna dance again. He's like his son. He's never coming back. He's gonna be the rival that is like thrown out of the game, and then he's gonna like light a fire in the main character, and he's gonna be like, I dance for you." And no, like a few chapters later, he was like, "Yeah, my leg's all better."
Yeah. Good now.
Oh.
Aaron, so you never really gave us what your expectations were going into this manga. So what did you
She
think?
did it?
I didn't know I didn't either, but you are right. I was expecting a lot more of the kind of sportsy tropes that we usually see, which normally I don't care. I love sports manga because of those tropes most of the time. But yeah, I didn't get that. That's what I was looking for. And then the art was way more intense than I was expecting. And the only other dance manga I've read is Tetsugaku Letra, which is so much more focused on the relationships. Not that this one isn't, but this one has the actual dance sequences. And so I didn't really know what to expect in terms of how the sport was actually going to present itself. I hadn't even thought about it. I was like, what? Was just they're gonna dance, and then we got to the actual dancing bits, and I'm going, wow, okay, this is dancing. So.
See, I kind of had a similar experience because again, as we read on MangaPod, I have also read Tetsugaku Letra, and that's what I was expecting going in.
Yeah.
And that's not what I got, and I guess I kind of mentioned problems that I had with this.
Sorry.
You okay?
Manga earlier.
I never switched the splash screen over, apparently. I thought I did, but I missed the button. So.
Oh, yeah. That's spoiler free, for sure. Lies.
Anyway, so the problem that I had with this manga is comes from something that I enjoyed in Tetsugaku Letra. That being the focus on the characters and the focus on the characters outside and away from dance.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like this manga really lacked. Like it's so immersed in its sport that it kind of feels like it's limiting the characters to that. Now I understand that the sport is a major part of their lives, but I would like to see more outside of their lives, specifically the main boy.
Oh yeah, like how you got maybe like 2 pictures of him in a book, and then he's in high school now.
Yeah.
Like how did you do that if when the whole manga is about him being at the studio?
God, I was super okay with that.
I was so fine with it too.
With it being
I was
like,
fine.
I was expecting there to be a whole chapter where like all of his dance friends have to help him study to get into high school, and I was so delighted when it was just he got in.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of like his life at home, because it's kind of like, oh, we're poor, his father drinks, that's just, we get panels here and there, but I would like to see more of his life outside, away, and thinking about those relationships and maybe like immersed in thought. I don't know. I kind of like I like those introspective characters.
I did have a thought as I was reading. I love the dynamic and the chemistry between Sen, Goku, and the main guy, Tadar.
I can't remember their names either.
Tadar, yeah, I love their dynamic and stuff. But then I was thinking, there's part of it that's not quite as effective as I think, because when I think about it, I'm like, I kind of wish there was a little bit more. I think like Mob Psycho, like just a little bit more of the like angst at home to make that relationship really connect, where you're like, he's finally got the father figure. And then at the same time, I'm like, but I don't care that there's not that much angst, because angst can be so dreary and just like, oh, stop it. It was a weird little thing that I definitely came into my mind as I was reading it. Like, even though I love that relationship, there's a little bit more motivation behind it. And maybe we'll get it, but I think a little bit more motivation behind it would have sealed it a little bit more for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was like that one short conversation where his dad was basically like, don't make what you're doing now your excuse for why you fail later. Yeah. Basically telling him, don't waste your time. Yeah. In a way.
Yeah, that was right before he started studying really hard to get into school.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so and his dad doesn't seem like a horrible person.
Right.
Like, at all. Like, so maybe it's the idea that his dad didn't really like taken too much of an interest or encourage him to do anything, and so he was kind of following in his father's footsteps.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where they're going with it, and that he was going to be the very complacent just living life day to day, didn't really have any aspirations. And then Sengoku came in and was like, let me inspire you.
Yeah.
Let us dance. Yeah.
So maybe that's where, now that you say that, maybe that's where what they were trying to imply, but didn't feel the need to focus too heavily on, or we'll see more of.
Yeah.
I will say that it seemed like at the beginning, and I know that we got a little bit of this in school when he was like introducing himself, but in the beginning he was like, "Oh, I don't want anybody, I don't want like my family to know that I'm dancing. Like I'm not gonna like really talk about it." And then it went to him dancing in front of the TV, and his dad, I don't know, it seemed like
he was doing it while he was sleeping.
Yeah, it just seemed like he didn't really care about hiding it anymore. And I think that it's really weird that that conversation hasn't happened again. If he's really been dancing for like 7 months at this point,
Yeah.
that his dad has not like followed up on what he's doing with so much of his time.
It's like the emotional like buildup doesn't really happen like for those moments. So those moments don't hit quite as hard as they should. Which if you think about like other sports manga, there might be like a lot more of a foreshadowing, or like the seed is planted and then as it grows, we get to finally see that big old blossom of it. Whereas here it's like seed is there and then 2 pages later the flower is dead, but it's happened. And you're just like, what? And so I agree. I wish there was a little bit more emotional payoff or emotional build up for things that you would think would be outside of the dance.
Well, maybe that's why like this is just a really slow series to read. Like maybe because we're going to get there, because right at the end of chapter 21 is when we're introduced to Blondie, Chinatsu. And it's like, is she a ballroom dancer? Is she not a ballroom dancer? Like, what's going on with her? So what relationships are going to open up? Like, is he going to finally get a partner? Like, maybe it'll unfold more as it goes farther. Because I really do feel like things were starting to get together right towards the end of the reading. Mm-hmm. Because you did get like backstory on like them actually coming together at school, going to see Sengoku like dance and see his way, learning that he has to like actually change the way he stands just to get the strength that he needs to do the certain techniques. Like it was really starting to get more like, I don't know, realistic.
It feels like the everything we read is the prologue to what's going to happen next.
I agree. Yeah,
that's a great way to explain it.
Sorry.
No, go. No. Go ahead. Because I can say it later.
I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna change it.
Change it.
Is anybody else just waiting around for that bully kid to get into dancing?
Oh my god, I want it to happen so bad. Ever since he like defended him, I'm like, dance.
He just like showed up in the same high school, is sitting right behind him and defended him, and that girl made fun of him for dancing. And I was like, you need to dance out your feelings, sweet bully child.
Yes,
I need it so bad.
It so bad. I definitely want it. All right, should we talk about the dancing itself? What were your guys' feelings on saw numerous dance battles. So what were your guys' feelings on all those, everything?
Can I say one thing before we talk about the dance drawings?
Yeah.
All right, I will never forget page 120. If you guys want to go back to that, you can. But it was when the guy that hurt his leg, broke boy.
Yeah.
Like they were trying to show like a glance scene, but as I was reading it, I'm like, oh, there he is, he's mad. But I'm like, oh, like his eyes are completely like off, and it threw me off completely because it just looked like they messed up on the drawing. So I was like, are you okay?
The way that
with that sketch,
way they draw his eyes, sometimes I'm like, where did your color go, sir? Like
Where
what?
did those brows come
Yeah,
from?
I'm
Those
so
arches?
confused.
Look, he spends a long time on his brows, okay? To make them look good.
Like, oh
There
my
you go.
god.
Tell
Oh
folks.
my gosh. Yeah, dancing. What are you guys' thoughts? I want to hear
If you're-
yours, Dodger, as a dancer.
Ooh.
Former.
I never did like ballroom dancing or anything like that, but I really liked the way that movement is drawn in this.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to say that I had any qualms with this manga, honestly, it would be that sometimes I think the same dance would go on a little bit too long.
Mm-hmm.
Like they would get the point across and it would keep going for a couple more pages. And I was like, all right, it looks beautiful. Like I love the way that it's drawn. I love when we like get to see into the minds of the judges and like see what they're seeing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were a couple of times where I was like, all right, next dance.
Mm-hmm.
Next dance.
Let's tango now.
Yeah. But I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I loved all of the dancing parts. What about y'all?
I thought the dance sequences, because I feel like this is going to be like, I guess this is a good way to segue into just a general discussion of the art. But in terms of the dance sequences themselves, like Dodger, I feel like in places they feel like they went too long.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there were times where I really didn't have a sense of where characters were on the dance floor, which I would like those. I like those establishing panels where we saw where they were relative to the judges or other characters. Like I feel like when we got those panels, that's when I really got invested into the story because it's not just characters floating there. Like they're actually dancing in a big theater in front of a lot of people.
Yeah.
And whenever like they would wrap up the dances and main boy is there just bowing for the audience, I really liked those panels.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that less would have been more in this case because they're doing so many of those dances that I feel like some of them could have been condensed.
Mm-hmm. And you kind of feel, even if like what's happening between the characters in each dance is different, you still feel like you could have gotten it from a previous dance or something. Because like the battle with like Geiju and his sister, that they did like heats, and so they did different sections, like went from the beginning prelims to the finals, and you're just like you're seeing all of this, so many of the same thing over and over. And I agree with you, Lou. There were so many times where I was just like, I forgot that there was tons of other couples on that dance floor. It's not just them. And so it would throw me off when all of a sudden there was more people there. And less is more. I agree 100% with that. I think they could have condensed a lot of, and still gotten the same point across with the big buildups and with the emotion, what they're trying to do. I think they still could have gotten that across with doing a little bit less. It's just so much spinny faces, so much like dramatic, like, ooh,
dude, I
like,
love it. I love it.
Oh my god, I just love. Those faces were so good. The scene,
so
the dance where he's the blossoming flower within the frame.
Sure.
That was probably one of my favorites. But just her face, like her faces were just so. It reminded me of some like Renaissance painting or something. Sometimes it was so good.
I agree.
Dodger.
That was like the best dance.
Yes.
I was gonna ask, you've seen the anime, so how do these faces look animated?
Since you watched it twice.
Well, again, it only covers chapter 1, so like we don't get to see any of the done up dancing in the first episode of the anime. But I mean, I guess we like a little bit when he watches the DVD, right, of Sengoku dancing. But that scene is just really funny animated.
really?
Oh, I don't remember. Yeah, because you in the manga, he's like, it's like they're all telling me, look at me, and then he like falls back, right? It's so dramatic in the anime, you guys. He's just like, they're all looking at me, like it's amazing.
Oh, I can't
Oh
wait.
my god. I loved
Good shit.
the fact that Sengoku was like, all right, main dude, you gotta go in. You gotta go in, fill in for Kiyoharu. He's not here. You gotta do it. And then he just gets him disqualified, and he's like, oops. Like, what?
I was glad that pretty soon after that, everybody was like, you did that on purpose. And he was like, yeah.
I love that they called him out and were like blaming him, the adult, in that situation. We're like, it's not his fault. It's you. You're the stupid adult here. What are you doing?
Oh my god. Another thing that I wanted to mention, I love the relationship between Sengoku and his dance partner.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I think they're
my
both
God.
so funny.
They are great. They're great together. I love them. What was your guys' favorite dance?
I cried during look. I cried
I
during,
cried during this too, so.
I cried during the section when everybody was like, when the whole like flower in a frame part. I definitely cried because I thought it was just like so sweet. I was like, oh, she never got to be the flower.
Dude,
She's finally the flower.
it caught me off guard. I was reading it and I was like, oh, she's the flower. And then I turned the page and suddenly I was crying and I'm just like, what? Where did it come from? I felt so many emotions.
Yeah,
I didn't cry, but
that's okay. Aaron and I cry at literally.
We cried a lot of
everything.
things.
Don't worry.
I cry a lot too, so I'm surprised that I didn't cry. But no, I would say that was my favorite too. It's like he made her blossom,
Yeah. And then it was
And-
what do you want?
and she basically won her own little inner battle,
Yeah.
and it was great. Because also, I was expecting her to be partners with him the whole time, and she was just this little, what I thought side character at first, who was just like a stupid One-san, and she ends up being like something more. So that's where like that moment came together with the story. So I thought that was a great moment. But I gotta say, like, about the dance moves, that's one thing that was like very confusing for me at some points. Like, I really do feel like this is like a slow reading series because I felt like I had to like rescan what I already read just to kind of see what was happening, or like I had to try to imagine it in my mind because the way that the scenes were put out during the dance moves, because all you see are, like you guys said, like the spins or like faces or like the sweat dripping down their face and what direction it's going.
Yeah.
And the flexibility of them. Like, they're showing, I don't know, they're just, I feel like they're more focusing on like their statue types more than like the actual dancing. But nonetheless, like, I do think it is very great art, but I just feel like it could have been laid out better. Like when it came to the dancing, but I still enjoy it nonetheless. It was just something I had to go back to imagine it better.
Now that you say that,
I'm excited about the anime, so it's hard for me.
now that you say that, I remember when I was reading it also thinking to myself, like, it's hard to differentiate which dances, like, to a person who doesn't know the difference between the different types of dances, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It would be really hard to differentiate which of these dances are fast and which of them are slow, because they're
Agreed.
all depicted in the same way. And like, there were times when, you know, everybody would be like, wow, this is such a passionate dance. It's so like their faces are so intense. It's so good for the tango. Right. And I was like, to somebody who doesn't know the difference between any of these fucking dances, they look intense 100% of the time. Like, these characters always look like they're fucking
Dancing is
right?
3D
When they were talking-
and we're, like, on a piece of paper.
Yeah. When they were talking about how it's like a slower trot, I'm like, it looks just the same
Looks the same thing.
Yeah.
as that like last one that we just read. I agree. Where I was just like, And like the way that they hold each other, everything looked so similar. The only one, there was one during like the tango where they were, I think, practicing. I can't remember, but there was one positioning of the tango that I was like,
Spoony.
this Spoonie. I was like, it's a different dance. Literally the only time. Every other time it's like they're spinning. They have the same like faces going.
And
Right.
the quick step because they were jumping.
The quick step was very
Right.
which I thought was really cool. I really liked the quick
Yeah.
step. That was awesome.
They did show like when Sengoku was first teaching Tatara, like how he was showing him the box step, and it literally showed like 1, 2, 3, 4, and it showed his foot movements, and that they did pretty well.
Mhm.
But just the way it was laid out, and right, certain things could have been like changed when it came to that. But then again, I never thought about ballroom dancing until I even heard about this.
Yeah.
So,
And I think
It's also
that's
different.
like Production IG is really good at
I love
displaying
them.
movement. And so I am very happy that they are producing this series. Because the anime, I feel like the dancing in the anime is going to look so great, and it's going to make so much more sense to have that much more, because drawing dancing in a manga is very limited. And so I think having the freedom of animation is going to help it a lot.
Yes.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited for so many people to just get still frames of things and be like, look how derpy this is. And just like an
Yeah.
in-between
Oh my
frame.
God. No, for
So
real
excited.
though, because like the way it's animated is like their necks are so long
Yeah.
and they whip around so crazy. The still frames are gonna be top tier. I can't wait.
Long necks. And I like that they point that out. They're like, she has a long neck. She's a dancer. And it's just
Yeah.
It was, as I was reading the whole time, I was like thinking about my posture the entire time I was
Yeah,
reading
I
this.
know,
Like,
I'm
oh,
like,
I slouch.
all right,
I have a long neck too.
my neck.
I'm a dancer.
I'm
I
a
need
tree.
to practice
I'm a
dancing.
tree.
I can dance in my chair.
Yeah.
All right, so do you guys talk about art? Should we go super in depth? Lou, you kind of already talked it. We've been touching on it with the whole dancing faces thing. There was one point where I got confused when they were dancing that their sweat, I thought it was a very bizarre choice of shading. I was like, why did you do that? It makes them all look like
Yeah.
robots. And then I realized
Yeah.
they were sweating because everybody was perfectly sweating in a straight line
Yeah.
right
Right,
there.
yeah.
And it made them look like there's some famous robot that it made them look like, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But
They
it
all
was
have
very
these
bizarre.
like, I don't know, they look like yandere faces at times when they're like,
Oh my god, I was scared at points. There were
For
points
sure.
where I was genuinely like, are they gonna dance out of my phone and kill me? Like, is this what's gonna
Specifically
Very
happen?
Gaju,
intense
I
dancing.
think. Gaju was
Yeah.
always drawn
Yes.
like he was a beast.
With his fangs
Like,
and
it's
everything.
Like, yeah.
their eyes should just have laser beams shooting out of them or something.
Yeah.
Like,
There were
I
times
do better than you.
There were times where it felt very old school. I don't know if you guys felt that, but there was a few moments where I felt like the art was very drawn from like an older, especially the covers. The covers I felt were a little like inspired by older manga styles, I think. But I don't know, the faces, man, the legs, everything. I kept forgetting they were middle schoolers too, but that happens.
Yeah.
It's manga. It's a sports manga. You're not supposed to remember that they're actually like high schoolers.
Yep. Until it says that, oh yeah, they're in high school now. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Like 3 months have passed and 21 chapters.
Yeah, the art, but I still really like the art. I thought the art was amazing.
I liked it a lot too.
It was great.
I don't know. I'm
I
really
liked it.
honestly torn about it. I'm just torn when it comes to the art because
Mhm.
it's like the anime looks like, I don't know, it just looks so much smoother compared to the paper. Because like I said, dancing's
Mhm.
like 3D, so it's
Yeah.
hard to imagine these dance scenes as I'm scanning the page.
Mhm.
So it's just like I said, it was more, I had to use my imagination, and especially because, right, I don't know anything about ballroom dancing. I'm just going to assume by what they're repeatedly showing me. Though, like, it really wasn't bad though, because you're getting, like Dodger said before, like inside the minds of what they're thinking and what they're like improvising on. That's the right word. And like what their improvisions are. So I do like that aspect, and maybe that's why they had to stretch out some of the scenes, because that's when they had to show like their mental breakdowns and like when their stamina was crashing down, like anything that would happen in a competition.
Yeah.
Like,
so I kind of like weigh out the options. Like I try to find the benefit in the doubts when it comes to certain things.
Yeah.
Well,
but I love the eyes, how the eyes are drawn. I will say that.
I love the eyes,
they're all real nice. My thing with the dancing is it feels like there are two distances that we can have from the characters. Either they are like real close and you get, just torso, or you get the full body shot. Like I feel like if, because ultimately like that distance that we have from the character gives lends to spatial awareness that we have. And I feel like there wasn't enough variety in terms of perspectives. Like, to give you an idea of what I mean, and this is comparing to an anime, not this anime, but an anime in general. Yuri on Ice. All right, so in Yuri on Ice, whenever the main character is doing his routine, you see him going all the way around the rink. You get some close perspective. You get shots of just the skates. You get shots of just the character moving around the rink. And it gives you an understanding of the amount of space that's being used, which a core part of this dancing manga is how the characters use space on the dance floor.
Yeah.
And I feel like
about that a lot. That's true.
And I feel like they didn't do enough to capitalize on it. Like they did in terms of the storytelling, but not from an artistic perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I was expecting like a spectacular ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might get to that. I don't know. It's still only 21 chapters in.
Now,
so it's hard, but I don't know. I try not to get my hopes up too much.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of character designs, I love the way all the girls were drawn. Girls, great designs, quality.
They're always better.
But no shame. But outside of the main guy, like the other three main guys, so Sengoku, Gaju, and Kyoto, those three guys looked very similar. And when they were all in the same area, I would have to like take a second to process who they were.
When their hair was pulled,
I never had that problem.
I didn't have that problem, but I can see, especially when their hair is all slicked back. If they're like, when their hair is slicked back and they're showing the chest muscles.
I am a dancer. My neck is very long.
One thing I will say about this is the main character, for whatever reason, reminds me of Deku from Boku no Hero.
100%. 100%. I agree with you. I was thinking that the whole time. I don't know if it's his hair or what, but he gave him some freckles and he's Deku.
Like,
that's true. They kept being like, your hair is like a brush.
So crazy. I really liked all of the character designs, and I liked the differences between them and when they were in uniform and like actually dancing. I liked seeing the designs of the clothes and seeing what they looked like and just how their expressions changed back and forth too. But I liked all of the character designs. I would say a lot of them I have seen many times in many other stories. But I thought they all suited the characters really well, like who they were. And their attire, too, I thought was great. Like, I just love it when characters have distinct fashion and stuff like that. And
they don't have the tropes. We don't see the tropes.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to see my favorite panel from the manga?
Always.
Yeah, show it.
I want to see
this panel right there. Wait.
Oh, no.
Wait.
Oh, no.
She looks so sexy
in that dress. I love the fact that we had like like, even though we saw that the characters thought other characters were sexy, they weren't like sexualized in a fan service way. Like, it wasn't like it was through a gaze where you're like, you should definitely focus on the tits and the boobs. It was very respected of like the dancers, both the men and the women. It was like, this is the mangaka who is like respecting the dance.
Except for in one of the last chapters, and that girl was like, "Do you think that they'll sign this?" And it was like a cover of a dance magazine.
But I loved it. I loved that part because it was like so good. Because it's like, oh, they're getting all these brand deals, and they're just like all touching each other. I love that Gage is like, I'm gonna marry her someday. Yeah, and it's just like, dude, slow down.
But then he's talking.
But even then,
in school, like it's nothing, like no territorial issues between them over her.
His weirdest line to me was when he was like, "Did you make my sister's boobs grow?"
Yeah,
I was like, "What the fuck?"
That's how she blossomed in another way.
Right? Yes.
Oh, speaking of boob growth.
So I mean, she's in middle school, so it's not like it's impossible for it to happen. Then
in the pads.
Like it took me a second. Like, all right, so she got into her dress. And I'm scrolling, and we skip, a couple panels. She's not there, and then out of nowhere, she's got boobs. I'm like, did I miss something? Were these always here? So I scroll up, and I'm like, no. So I continue scrolling, and then the characters notice, and I'm laughing my ass off. And then her stuffing just goes everywhere, and
so many trips on it. Oh my god!
Oh my god! So funny.
Oh, you poor thing.
Oh, another thing that I wanted to note was I never read puke in a manga before, so that was my first experience with Welcome to the
Oh my god!
I'm like, wait, what happened? And I'm like, wait, it's all pixelated. And I scroll down, I'm like, oh, wait, there's puke on the floor. So then I go back up, and I'm like, oh, he's puking right now.
Oh my god, I love it in stories when characters like actually puke. Like if they see gore for the first time, or they're drunk and they're with like their romantic interest and they just puke all over them. It makes me so happy because I'm like, how realistic is this? It's great.
No, I love comedy like that.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. All right, do you guys have any other things you want to bring up? Do you guys want to talk about Sen Gogumore? We kind of talked about him a lot. He's Daddy Longlegs.
He is
sexy. He is sexy, Daddy Longlegs. I love him. He is an attractive man.
I don't know, but okay, I have to ask you guys something, maybe a little off topic.
Sure.
So let's say ballroom suits, swimsuits, or ice skating suits.
Ice skating suits.
What do you think is that?
Ice skating suits. Lou?
I'm gonna go swimsuits. Of the three, I prefer free.
Okay.
Oh, are we talking about anime? I thought we just meant in general.
Well, because I'm right. It's like
I assumed it was.
If you're asking me, I prefer to wear a suit. I wear a suit almost every day.
Yeah, I'm just talking like, what do you guys like the best? The guys in in the ballroom,
I getcha.
Or in the ice skating suits.
Oh.
Definitely the ballroom.
I was gonna say ballroom suits. I think ballroom suits.
I don't know. Yuri in that sparkly uniform.
I like ice skating uniforms because they're so creative and so fun. I like that, but I prefer I like ballroom suits. Like they all look so snazzy in this manga. Yeah. Like when main dude like slicked his hair back and like has a suit. I'm like, dude, you're looking good. You cleaned up. You look great. Not that he was like dirty before.
Actually, now that I think about it, you don't see much of the Japanese culture in this manga. Like you don't see any of it really.
So, like really the only part that struck me as feeling very Japanese was when the main girl like told her counselor that she wanted to dance, and they were like, I didn't think she was like that.
Yeah.
I was like, we would not have that reaction here. We'd be like, oh, sick, you want to be a dancer, that's cool.
Yeah. 100%.
Like, I can't believe she wants to do something so lewd.
Right.
Maybe be like, what?
Yeah. So weird.
Yeah.
But it's like you don't see like any traditional outfits because they're wearing ballroom gowns.
Yeah.
No festivals.
They're not like, we
No
very
bright
rarely,
bulbs.
like, school uniforms are like not that much in this. It's just like they're always
Yeah.
in their practice attire for the most part. And so,
That's why I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of it.
Yeah.
Sure.
my suits.
And then watching the anime. And watching it
Next
twice.
couple episodes.
Watching it twice. Every episode you have to watch 2 times.
To find out
Look,
who's
on
naughty.
Twitch they showed it twice in a row, so I watched it both times.
You're such a great
Oh my
viewer.
goodness. All right. Should we wrap up and give our final thoughts and ratings?
Yeah.
Anybody want to go first? I'm trying to decide my number.
Oh, yes.
My number.
I'd probably, and keeping in mind that I really enjoyed it, I would probably give it like a 7.5.
Yeah.
I thought that it was really good. I think that they do need to have more variations in how they display the dances, but I love the characters, and I like that there have been so many times where I'm like, this is definitely how this is going to happen. This is definitely what kind of character this person is, and then it doesn't happen that way. Like, I really appreciate that. And it was really hard for me to stop. So yeah, I enjoy it, and I'm excited to read more of it. I think I'd give it a 7.5.
That's kind of where I was leading. I was kind of going to do a 7 because for all the reasons that you said, there was times where I wish there was a little bit more emotional buildup in the writing between characters and like reasons why characters get attached to other characters or just feel certain ways. But I really enjoyed the characters. There were so many things that I thought were going to happen, like Dodger said, and they went differently, especially with the characters. I loved their dynamics. I just want to see what's happening, and I'm very interested in the fact that this seems so much more like it's all the setup to the actual story that we're going to get, and I've loved what we've gotten so far, especially near the end, and that the dancing could not drag on. It would be nice if the dancing didn't drag on as much as it did in these first parts. I'm hoping that gets a little bit more exciting and varied as we read more. But I think it's a really stellar start to a very interesting take on ballroom dancing. And I like that it seems to respect what it's talking about as well. I think that's great.
No fan service.
You
Yeah.
want to go, Gene?
Yeah, sure. To be honest, it's really hard for me to give a number because I know this is just like the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, because this was such a slow progression and we read the first 21 chapters, and I feel like it just really started to change at like chapter 19. Like after he saw Sengoku dance. And it's just hard for me because it just started very slow. Regardless that we were trying to get a baseline of what's going on in the story. But like, if I had to give it a number, like if we call it like a prologue to what the story has, I guess I was honestly going to go with a 7 as well. Like, because it does have a lot going for it. It's just, it's hard for it to get there, but it's very intriguing, and at the same time, it's mature, and there are a lot of possible things going on underneath that we don't know about, and certain relationships that are going to change that we don't know about. So I don't know. I do give it a 7, and I'm definitely going to continue reading it. That's for sure.
Awesome.
Cool. I'm gonna give it a 6. There was a lot to like in this manga. The characters were all at least developed to be interesting. Their dynamic seemed sincere and very plausible. It wasn't cartoonish with how it depicted the interactions between the characters, specifically characters that were rivals with each other. It felt very mature. But I did have enough problems with it to, I guess, feel like there are other things I would rather read.
Yeah.
That's not to say I wouldn't continue reading this. Like, if you guys would want to throw this on a schedule, you're not going to hear any complaints from me. Because I feel that the problems that I do have are problems that can be addressed later in the reading. Like Gene alluded to, this is just the beginning of the story. And I guess because of all the manga that we read, I'm just used to getting more out of a story
Yeah,
within
at this period of time.
specifically because we read 5 volumes. Typically, we only read 4 volumes of manga here
Dude,
weekly,
yeah.
and we didn't get as much as I would have hoped. The
Yeah.
whole little dance section in Tepe was a lot of fun, and I feel like that really did a lot to boost my interest in this manga. The introduction of that, the tsundere-ish character at the very end, the potential dance partner.
Oh God.
I really like her.
Of course.
So yeah, I feel a 6 is a fair score for this manga, and it does have the potential to go up. Like it's nailing everything else, and if it can just tighten up the rest of its story, I feel like it'll definitely climb up in terms of my scores.
Are you gonna watch the anime, Lou? Oh,
Yes.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yes.
All right, that's cool.
I definitely will, because
Okay.
I want to see these things animated, but
Would
is
you
the
go
third
back
episode
to
is
reading
is
it?
the third episode out? Because I actually want to see ballroom dancing.
I don't think it's out
Yeah.
yet.
The second episode has ballroom dancing
Yeah.
in it because I saw it in the preview for the second episode.
Okay, then I'll watch the first 2 episodes.
I wonder when it airs. Maybe
It's on
maybe
Saturdays.
Friday. Oh, okay.
I think it's Saturdays.
it
Last
started
week's
on
episode
Friday.
was delayed until Sunday.
Oh my God.
Don't know why I know that, but there's some knowledge for you guys.
Bam.
Woo! All right, does anybody else have anything they would like to touch on?
It takes 2 to tango.
Hey,
I sure do.
I do.
Let's waltz on out of here.
We'll see you later. All right, so that wraps up our discussion for Welcome to the Ballroom. I'm going to read the description for the manga that we are reading, not next week because we are going to be taking next week off, but the week after that. Y'all in chat get to guess what it is. I bet you guys are going to be able to get this even with all of my blanking. In a world constantly haunted by demonic predators known as blank, the everyday life of humans is full of fear and suspicion as these monsters easily blend into human society to hunt their hapless prey. However, in this world, there is also a mysterious organization employing half blank warriors to effectively track down and kill the demons, called Blank or Blank, after the huge blanks that they carry. These blank warriors are eyed with suspicion and distrust by most because of their inhuman powers.
Wow, what could it possibly be?
Oh my.
I just don't know. Yep, there it is.
Claymore!
Yeah.
Yay! We are reading Claymore. I'm so excited because I love Claymore. I'm so excited to read some more. So we're reading volumes 6 through 10, chapters 28 through 57 is what we'll be reading on August 1st. All right, should we go through and wrap up and sing our stuff really quick? I'm not doing that because it would break every single person in the world's eardrums. But I'm Erin of Happily Erin. I have a YouTube channel. It's where all the previous MangaPods are hosted. That's basically the only thing going up right now and for the foreseeable future. Because I'm working on a book, so that's where all of my time currently goes, that I have any sort of spare time. But I'm also still pretty active on all of my other social media, Happily Erin, all across the everything, Twitter and Instagram most of the time, Snapchat if you want to see me put funny filters on my baby. You want to see that? Come follow me.
Hi guys, I'm Dodger. You might be watching this on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/dexbonus. I also have a YouTube, youtube.com/presshearttocontinue. I do video game and anime stuff, although my YouTube has been a little bit barren. Hopefully pick that back up over time. And yeah, I'm Dexbonus on pretty much everything. And I have cute cats. They're normally not in this office with me though.
Oh,
this is just like a one-time thing.
They're adorable.
They're so cute.
I know, aren't they? They're so cute.
So cute.
Sherlock, they said you're so cute.
I just saw his tail.
I don't
His
know.
tail just like walk by.
My name is Lou, and I'm from Lou Talks Anime. You can find me at youtube.com/Lou Talks Anime now, where occasionally make YouTube videos. I don't know. Life's been busy. I've been traveling a lot lately, but I'll try to make time eventually at some point. But you should totally go subscribe to Jean when she shouts out her channel, because she's only like 40 subs from 15K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's good people, and she real great. So yeah.
Heck yeah.
That's my stuff, and there's like a segue into her stuff. There you go.
Yeah, I also been on a little, I've had a little scheduling issues lately, but I do plan on being back. I do like to also do anime news, which I see that Dodger does, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so cool, because I think it's really cool. So I do that, and I do podcasts. You can find me with Anime no Yume, or you can go to AnimeAppraisal, which is my YouTube channel. Also, I have a Twitter, and that's about it. You can only really follow me on Twitter. That's all I have.
Yeah. Thank you so much
And
for
thank you for
coming
having me.
on. Yes, we've missed
It was
you.
a lot
We're
of
so
fun.
happy
Yes.
you're able to come back.
Oh, I want to do it
100%.
again. I love doing it.
Yes.
Aw.
Good.
Sure.
You're awesome as always. We'll have to have you back for some more Loveless if we ever get back to Loveless, dude.
Oh my god, I forgot you were on Loveless.
Loveless. Next
I
year,
don't have that.
next schedule, every week is Loveless.
Oh no.
Okay.
Sorry,
Oh.
sorry, Lou. Actually, sorry,
Well, I
everybody.
wasn't here for that one, so I have some catching up to do.
You missed out.
Oh man,
Yeah.
the quality.
It'll be Lou's favorite.
Lou's
For sure.
favorite manga.
Photo
There's
show.
there's tsunderes in there, Lou.
Oh.
We have some scheduling to do. Oh, speaking of scheduling, we have a new recommendation thread.
Yes.
So if you want to recommend Loveless to us or other manga, other manga,
Every comment is Loveless.
reddit.com/r/mangapod.
Go recommend Loveless. Go recommend Loveless.
Make him read Love Less.
Recommend what you want to recommend.
Recommend Loveless. Hold on, guys. I need to tweet
Don't
something.
let us
really
peer
quick.
pressure you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to do that.
No, I'm peer pressuring you. Go recommend Loveless. Recommend it. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us today. If you're watching on YouTube and Twitch, thank you so much. If you're watching on the VOD on YouTube, also thank you. We appreciate you guys watching. Sorry about the fact that I had the spoiler-free section splash screen up for like 10 minutes of the spoiler section, but don't worry, I'll put an annotation. It'll be fine. We'll be fine. Thank you guys so much. We will see you same time, same place next week. Just kidding. Not next week. The week after, August 1st, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Talking about Claymore. Bye.
Yeah. Bye bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.